Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of PSVG Prime, the flagship show of the PSVG Podcast Network and the only gaming podcast iller than the coronavirus. Too soon? It is I, your host, Kevin, and with me is a man whose flow spits sick, but no, this isn't SARS, Mr. Lucas Rose. Oh, maybe it is SARS.
Excuse me. No, it's definitely not SARS. Please don't tell the government. Happy to be here from my bunker in Michigan. I shouldn't have said that part.
You on a 14-day quarantine from your last trip to China last week?
Yes.
After the show?
I've been surviving on MREs. Not because I have to. I just like MREs.
Like the taste.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
14,000 calories.
Yeah. And with us, of course, because all these outbreaks, we had to be cautious and bring in someone with EMS experience. The boss man himself, Mr. Donnie Reese.
Greetings, Koopalings. I have no EMS experience. None.
Well, I mean, you manage crises, though.
Yeah, but no, not like that. I tell EMS people, like, where to go.
I like to pretend that you're like a real-life pandemic.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if Resident Evil were to happen, you're the guy who's going to coordinate the STARS team to come in and take care of it.
If Resident Evil does happen, I coordinate getting, like, medicine to the public. I do coordinate that. So like if we have to hand out like mass injections or mass bills, I'm like the guy that sets up that whole effort.
So you're telling me you're not the one to call Mila Jovovich and get things. Lucas, we got the wrong guy in the show.
But as I always tell my wife, like we get our meds first responders. So like if stuff gets bad, I get my pills like a week before you.
There's no cure for the T virus. We know this.
This is true. This is
so,
true.
Just want to blow things up. We need Mila. Anyway, this isn't a medical outbreak podcast, although sometimes it feels like it. It might make you sick listening to it, but hey, it's a video game podcast. We got a lot on the plate tonight, as you can imagine. Donnie's been itching to talk some VR stuff, so we will definitely get to that. We do have some questions from you folks out there. Nathan Thomas showed up in a big way. I almost feel like he's the fourth person on the show tonight with the amount of questions he sent in between VR and the regular mailbag. So let's jump right in, guys. Let's talk about what we've been playing. Let's see. We have some overlap here, and I know there's going to be things we want to talk about. So Lucas, go first, but save VR till the very end before we transition on. So,
okay. Well, I also have one overlap too, so I'll start at the end and work my way forward. How about that? So I've been playing this game that my son really wanted to play. Well, I got it for him, and he wanted to play it again.
Sure.
Cars 3 Driven to Win. I'll give you one guess as to what this is about. So it's sort of a Mario Kart light experience. Sometimes you do battle as you're racing. Other times you're just racing, but you play as people from Cars 3. Well, not the people.
There's
the
no
cars.
people.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry. Cars are people too.
Cars lives matter.
Exactly. So yeah, it's a decent game. It's fun. We just kind of putter around in it. But it actually got me thinking. I think it would be more cool, or possibly even cooler, if you had a Cars game where you create your own car and then you play through a story mode a la any of the career modes in sports games.
Okay.
And you have like different coaches like Lightning McQueen or Jackson Storm or, whatever. You could pick whoever your coach was. And you had like this season mode-esque type deal. Like a NASCAR game almost. I don't know. I thought it would be more interesting than a Mario Kart clone.
It was like, Disney Infinity had some car stuff in there, and you had like the toy box modes. You can kind of create your own things. Mm-hmm. It wasn't clearly that type of thing, but it was probably the closest you'd get to something like that. And I'd actually be interested to like hear your son actually play like Disney Infinity. But like I know you don't have a way of doing that, but I feel like that'd be something the both of you would have a lot of fun with between like the Star Wars stuff, the Disney stuff, the Marvel stuff. Like
he definitely
that would be pretty cool. And the cards you can just drive around. My kids actually took it out of storage last weekend for some reason. We're like, Dad, can we play Disney Infinity on the PlayStation? I'm like, okay. and they haven't played that since. Like, I got that the year it came out for them on PS3, and I got every figure for Christmas. I was that dad because I was like so psyched that they were pumped about something video game related.
Yeah.
And I got them all, and they haven't touched it in like 2-3 years, and they just sat there all day and just played toy box mode. They didn't go into story mode once, just building stuff and then flying around as like Tinkerbell and like Maleficent or Lone Ranger. It was like all weird stuff, but
that's cool.
yeah, it was cool. I someday if you get a real console, we can
Wow,
I can get you set up because I have it on Xbox and PS4. So either way, Josh gave me his when I bought his Xbox, so I have duplicates of stuff. So I could actually send you stuff if you had a way of playing it. Yeah.
My God,
Yeah.
that would be amazing. Well,
Anyway,
anything would. Well, I was going to say anything would be better. I don't know. It's okay. It's just okay. It's like pretty close to the lowest effort put in for a franchise game or whatever, a movie licensed game. It's all right. It's for the kids. Speaking of for the kids, the other game I tried, I haven't really been playing, I should say, is A Hat in Time. I've been meaning to get to this game for a while because I thought it looked pretty good when I was, when I saw I was going to get it on Humble Bundle or whatever. I looked into it and it looked interesting. It's a little rough to look at, and I still agree because when I booted it up, it's very contrasty. The shadows are too dark and everything else is super colorful. So it has this really vivid look, but also if you remember in the PlayStation 1 days when they used to shade everything just by like coloring it in black a little bit, like on their clothes or under their armpits or whatever, they just color in black and everything always looked gritty and weird. Kind of reminds me of that a little bit. The other thing about this game is it runs like complete garbo. For some reason, now I'm playing it on PC.
Remember I said this like a year ago.
Yeah.
I bought this game when it came out and everybody was all excited about it. They're like, oh my God, it's an indie game. It's like, it's Mario 3. It's 3D Mario.
Yeah.
And then you play it and it's like, it's not. Don't say Mario.
It so badly wants to be though. From
it does. It tries. Give them credit.
Diving.
Like, it is the indie version of wanting to be it. But, like if you give anybody the impression, if they go into it expecting to hold a controller and feel like Mario, sorely disappointed.
Yes. Even like level design and stuff is just not there. You look at a level and you're just like, it looks like somebody just sneezed all of these ideas into one spot and then you're just kind of left to figure out where you're supposed to go.
I don't think it's bad by any means. I think it's okay. It's a good effort. But I would put it more like, I feel exactly about A Hat in Time how I felt about the first ukulele game. Like with the camera and the controls and everything just kind of felt off. Just kind of like how I played Super Lucky's Tale the first time I played it when I came to Xbox. I was like, this is just, it's not quite. And that's the problem, or at least for me. I've said this a bunch. For me, if a platformer doesn't feel right, like when I'm playing the game, if I don't feel like the responses are accurate enough, like I lose all interest almost instantly. I'm like, no, it's not good. And I just kind of, I don't know if I've just been conditioned that way. I'm like a snob. I have no idea what it is, but like I know it when I feel it and I hate it when I don't. It's just like, it's not good.
Yeah. I mean, I can give a little a pass for some of that, but when it runs terribly, and it's a game that does not need to run terribly. Like I don't know why it runs so bad. The character models are very simplistic. The environments aren't anything crazy, but when you can't turn around without the game chugging a little bit. And it's almost like that load in lag where it's like, oh, everything behind you disappeared. Now we got to draw it back in. So really kills a game where you feel like you want the freedom to run around and build up momentum and be able to jump and platform. But it just doesn't work in this game very much. And I played it for a good hour or so and just wasn't feeling it. So I was actually kind of bummed because I thought it was going to be, a hidden gem or something.
I think my big takeaway was I really wanted to like love it. I wanted it to be great. And I just don't think it's great. I do think it's okay. I think it's good. And I think if you go in with right expectations, you'll find some enjoyment. You'll like a little bit. But to me, the camera and the controls, that was like the ultimate kind of killer for me.
Yeah, it's just not there. Maybe I'll come back to it another time when I'm not so, looking for something else to play, I guess. Uh, Another game I tried out real quick was called Dandara. This is a 2D platformer game that it's kind of interesting because you don't really move per se. You jump from wall to wall. And to do so, you're kind of stuck in place, and then you use your left thumbstick to point at the wall you want to go to, but you can only go to walls that you can reach, and there's no like jumping physics. It's just point A to point B. It's not like you could ever miss a jump, really.
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to time them. There's enemies that walk along it's basically ceilings and floors and walls since it's 2D. Looks like a Metroidvania game. There's a lot of navigation to be had. And it's it's 2D sprite based and it looks really nice. It has kind of an artistic feel to it. There's a lot of poetry and not poetry, but just a lot of lore and stuff. It's very flowery and doesn't give you everything up front. You don't really know what's going on. You start out the game in like the crib of creativity or the womb of whatever. I don't know. So it's one of those games. And but it interested me. It had some interesting mechanics, and you couldn't like attack right away either. You had to charge up your gun that you shoot, and there was some kind of puzzle platforming to do with that as well. And my biggest issue with it right now is I kind of feel like I'm just wandering around. I don't really know where to go, so I've just kind of been exploring. And sometimes that's fun, sometimes that's okay. Other times you feel like you chose the wrong direction to go into, and now you're just getting further and further away from whatever you're supposed to be doing. And you might not be able to make it back or whatever, or even remember how to get back. So it's very intriguing, and I would recommend people give it a shot to see what it's like, because it is, if you like those 2D sprite platforming-esque puzzler games, then it's not like anything I've really played before. It's got some interesting things going on for it. And then lastly, I'm playing a game that I see someone else here is playing as well. I'm playing it on Game Pass, PC Game Pass. A Plague Tale Innocence, which I was pretty excited for. I actually was considering buying this game just because I've heard it's a very narrative-driven game. And basically, I'll just give my thoughts on it really quick and then go from there. But the intro, wow, I'm not going to give anything away, but that intro, man, you kind of know what you're getting into just from that little area of the game. You're like, okay, it's going to be one of these. All right. Family first. Let's go through some hardships. And also there's rats everywhere. So cool. That's fun. Basically, if I had to sum it up, it's a stealth walking game or sneaking game with some
Rats.
Sling with rats and some sling elements to it. You use a sling quite a bit.
Like Billy Bob Thornton? Like
not a sling blade.
Oh.
No, that's something different.
Boy.
And from a story perspective, it does have me. I am interested in what happens in this game. From a mechanics perspective, though, it's okay, but it's one of those games I find that I can only play for so long before I'm kind of like, okay, I'm tired of pushing the thing that has the light on it. I'm tired of finding the thing that I have to shoot to make the thing drop. Like, there's just a lot of things that repeat that aren't too difficult to figure out, but I haven't seen enough variety that the mechanics are really grabbing me, like Batman Arkham Asylum or something, where the fighting is so fluid and you're just like, cool, I can do this for forever. This is just kind of like, all right, I'm going to take this at like 1 or 2 hour chunks, get some of this really good story going, and then I'll, dip out before I have played it too much and kind of get tired of it, I guess. So that's kind of how I feel about it. Overall, that's what I've been playing this week. So,
I've been playing that game as well. I was on the fence as well as almost buying it. I'm glad I waited for Game Pass because I'm not too enamored with the story so far. The characters, just I haven't gotten invested to the point. I think I think a large part of it might be because of the gameplay. Kevin, it's like a Naughty Dog game without any of the shooting or stabbing the clickers or any of that. You throw rocks, you make distractions, you move carts, you get on top of the cart to climb up to the thing you can't reach. It's a lot of that.
Is there less rock climbing?
No, you climb over plenty of rock walls and things all right out of the gate. There's a lot of climbing.
Yeah.
And it's fine. Stealth games have never been my a thing that I've really enjoyed. So that's really not putting the game down. That's probably just more my taste. It's beautiful. It is really, really
Crazy
good
beautiful.
looking video game for sure. That was the first thing that struck me. But I'm through chapter 5. I think I started 5. I'm not sure if I went through the next one.
We're around the same spot then.
Okay. And not that I think it was bad. I'm not saying that. But when I got through chapter 5, because I played it, I don't know, Lucas, 3 hours maybe?
Yeah, 3, 4, something like that.
I was like, I want to play something else. Not saying I never want to play it again. I might come back to finish it, but I was like, I want to play something else. Like this isn't, I'm not so captivated that I can't wait to see the next cutscene or like, that's the thing with like that style of game, right? And I hate saying this because I feel everybody cannot be compared to Naughty Dog, but the formula is so similar that like I can't help but make the thing. The difference is Naughty Dog's characters and cutscenes are so good you play through to get there, and I don't have that at all. I'm like, I really don't care what happens.
Speaking of which, did you notice that when they as beautiful as the game is, when the people talk, they look like Muppets. It's crazy. They just bop, 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 bop.
Yes, faces and
Animal Crossing.
Yeah, like that's that stuff is really hard to put off. But man, that opening level with like that forest and like the grass and the falling leaves and like the autumnal look to it. I mean, that is top notch stuff. I was the first thing I was like, man, who made this game? Like this is really, really it's better than most. Like it's really good.
In film, they say every frame a painting. In this game, like exudes that so crazy. Like there's parts that you get to around the area that you're in. It's a really gross part. I'm sure you probably know what I'm talking about if you've got there. Holy cow! For as beautiful, even the disgusting things that are on display are beautiful.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly. The
like
grotesque stuff
painting.
that does, but like that first. I don't know if you call it like a boss battle, like your first encounter. That's just that whole experience is like not what I really want to do in a video game. Kevin, you get trapped with this boss, you have to fight, but you really can't fight. You gotta be defensive in your attacks.
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, really? Can't I just like pick up something and hit this guy with it or something like that? You know, it's a game like that. It's not meant to be an action game. It's not an action game.
Yeah.
You know, it's not Control. So I get it. It's just not like those types of games I don't play often. So it's really not for me. So I don't want to go too far and make it sound like I hate the game or anything like that. I think it's a very good game. I'm glad I waited for Game Pass because if I had bought this game, I probably would have traded it in. I wouldn't have stayed around as long as I have. So
Right. You're not allowed to hate games. That's my job.
Oh.
So speaking of which, we might as well get this out of the way. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. No, I'm just kidding. I don't hate the game, but Donnie's going to paint it like I do. So we can talk about that because we have that on both
I am
our list,
taking out my issues with the way this game is reviewing on you because you just happen to be the only person that I get a chance to do that to.
Yes, absolutely. So good. You go because it's on your list too. So.
The thing that happens, so this one has actually been one that's kind of caught me. I like Dragon Ball Z. I consider myself to be a Dragon Ball Z fan, and I was interested in this game for a while because I thought it looked good. Like visually, I was like, man, this looks really good. Like I might want to get this game. So I start reading reviews, and I come away from reviews, score notwithstanding, thinking that the game is bad. Every review just goes, you know, it's a love letter to the fans, but here's why I don't like it. The RPG is not enough RPG. The thing is not enough thing. Like they just go on and on about what the game doesn't do without telling you what they want it to do, like what they expected it to be. And then they just like slap a 7.5 at the end. And they're like, there you go. That's Dragon Ball Z. I'm through the Cell Saga now. So I'm like towards the end of the game.
Yeah, you're good.
And I think it's fantastic. I've played this game for maybe 20 hours. I did a little review for the Xbox Drive with Ryan Turford, and I call it a glorified Muso. To me, it's very much like a Warriors game. It is just a smash buttons beat 'em up with some open world exploring and some minor RPG stuff thrown on top of it, which a lot like a Fire Emblem Warriors, like very similar, just different style of combat. Instead of being grounded the whole time, you get to fly around and you have this awesome, beautiful open world to enjoy it in. But like the root of it at its base is very similar. Like the style of combat is very similar. The thing that sets it apart is, in my opinion, like the world and the cutscenes and the animation is absolutely gorgeous. If you are a Dragon Ball Z fan and you're thinking about wanting to go back and watch the show, then I would absolutely tell you to just go look at it on YouTube. Like go Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, do a side-by-side comparison, and you will see just how much better looking this is than the old style cartoon. I think it's the best way to experience that story. And then the combat is really, really fun. It is a button masher. You know, it's like a beat 'em up. You're going to sit there and you're going to spam like your attack button. You basically have two attack buttons. You've got your melee and then you've got your key attacks. But your key attacks can be offset with the shoulder buttons both sides. So on your left side, those are your key attacks. On your right side, if you have a party, which you can customize, those are your party attacks. And you can mix your party attacks with your attacks to create super attacks. And then if you hold both combos or both triggers, you can go Super Saiyan and Kaioken, and you can transform into bigger, more powerful stuff. But doing that type of stuff they'll drain your energy. If you drain your energy, you'll die. All the bosses have their own patterns. You know, it's no different really than like a punch out type of thing. Like everybody's got something that they do, and you got to learn what they do to beat them. And once you do it, kind of becomes somewhat easy. I honestly can't say that I've had too terribly of a hard time playing this game. I think it's pretty easy, especially if you are adhering to the levels that you're supposed to be and the enemies that you're fighting. If you're like within the range, like if they're level 30 and you're level 25, you're fine. The only other time you'll have issues if you're level 25 and they're level 42. Now you might need to like have some potions and stuff like that. But all that said, I don't understand why so many people. I just don't understand what they thought it was. You know, like so many of these reviews are like, well, you know, it's not like the RPG systems. Like, what do you expect? Did you think it was The Witcher? Like, did you walk in expecting it to be Fallout? Like, I mean, I think we knew what it was supposed to be. You know, it's Dragon Ball Z, and like we saw the gameplay, and I just think from what I expected. I'm gonna stop speaking for other people. From what I saw about this game leading up to it, that's exactly what the game that I played. So it's like I can't really fault them for that. I don't know. It's like I want to go ask all these reviewers, like, do you take this approach with any other game that you review, or is because you don't like Dragon Ball or didn't want to play this, are you just kind of using this as your kind of foil to just throw stones at this one? That's kind of, I don't know. This one's kind of bothering me. I've been this way for reviews for a while, and this one kind of just tipped me over the edge. I'm like, reviews are real dumb. Like I'm just gonna stop reading them altogether.
So I reviewed this game for GamesReviews.com, and I think everything you said is completely valid. I can only speak for myself here, so not really defending myself, but my stance is the RPG elements. It's more because they kind of advertise the game as being an RPG.
Yeah, and
I hate this whole conversation of like what is an RPG. I'm not going to go down that route, but it's very much not an RPG.
Well, I mean,
it's very much like you just go battle. No,
I disagree with you. I disagree with you. I can't let you say that because there is a very deep upgrade skill tree that you earn experience to do. That's every RPG I've ever played, and this game has it. So how is that any different? How is it any different than Horizon or Final Fantasy or Pokemon or anything else?
So for everyone listening, the way you level up, so the RPG elements he's talking about is as you traverse this beautiful world, which I'm not arguing that, you collect these different floating orbs.
Yeah.
And you then use those orbs to unlock skills.
Sure. But you also get orbs from battle.
Yes.
and doing side quests. So it's not the only way you get them.
No, I know. But I'm just saying, like, that's not a really rich, deep RPG element system. You grab balls and you grab balls and then you just click a token saying that's the next skill I unlock. You're not putting attributes specifically towards like, hey, I'm going to upgrade my strength, I'm going to upgrade my intelligence or defense, whatever. It's just you click the next move that your character unlocks.
But you do more than that. They're like, I understand what you're saying. Like at the face value of it, like at the simplest explanation, you're right. But if you dive in and you get into the details, of which is not required, you can play this game really without even doing it.
Yep.
So I think if you're gonna hit the RPG system, it's that it's not really necessary. You can actually kind of play through it just clicking the stuff, without really paying attention. But if you do care about it, you earn more experience and you earn more materials to upgrade in battles than you do like around the world. So you could spend all of your time going and collecting all those orbs. It's really not necessary. Yeah. You're gonna have plenty to upgrade. But even when you upgrade your paths, like every character has their own chart and they go in separate paths. So you can unlock more HP or more attacks or all kinds of different stuff. Better buffs for experience or cooking. There's a whole cooking thing that goes into this. Like, I get what you're saying, but it's there. Like, if you were to compare it against anything else, like, it's as there as any other game I've played. It's really, I mean, how is it different? How is it different? How's it different from a different game? How's it change?
It's as much of an RPG in that description as Mega Man is. You continue your battle, you get further in levels, you unlock new abilities. It's not, like I said, you're not selecting, and not every RPG is the same, so I'm not making an argument there either. It's like, but you're not picking actual attributes to make a difference. Like as you progress story, okay, you get Goku's super fireball or Kamehameha, whatever.
But those special abilities, they can change, they can make a big difference.
Right. It's just the way it was
but
advertised.
There's a lot of them.
Seem like that. There's nothing. The best,
I'm not a Mega Man person, so like I don't want to, because I don't know, but like I know Mega Man, he gets some attacks that you can unlock. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, like every character has like 100. Like the skill tree is not like 6 things you unlock. Unlock the same ones. They're very different.
They are, but they're not. There's not 100 moves. You unlock like 8 moves, and you unlock higher tiers for the same move.
That's true. Yep.
So it's like you got his Kamehameha, you unlock level 2, level 3, level 4. It's the same move. It's
and you have
powerful.
To beat certain training levels, which require materials and things to unlock those to even get to the skills.
Yeah.
So like if you want that grindy RPG, it's there. That gameplay is there for you.
It's there, but there's no benefit to doing so. He still is just throwing the Kamehameha. It's just more powerful. It's not like you're grinding to get the Master Sword, where that was a difference in the game, or you're not grinding out to get the certain weapon in Fallout or whatever. But I don't want to harp on this point because I have other points to make too. The best analogy you made, and I didn't think of it earlier, was the Warriors one. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
So here's my challenge. The Warriors games, critically speaking, and most commercially accepted versions are the ones based on established franchises.
Mm-hmm.
Hyrule, Fire Emblem, Dragon Ball Z. That's fine. If you were to strip that layer away and make this any other type of game, would you have enjoyed it as much?
Well, I mean, no, but you're talking about a big part of this game is the animation, the cutscene, and the story that it's telling. Yep. So, like, if you just strip the cutscenes and animation and story from any game, is it a better game? Like, that's not. I don't think that's.
I'm not saying strip that. I'm
well, I mean, you have to. If you're stripping Dragon Ball Z from it, that goes with it. Like, you can't have Dragon Ball Z.
But if it's not Goku and it's Steve instead, and Steve does the same things Goku did, but you just don't have that familiarity with it.
If you could run around the world and collect orbs and do side quests and beat up people like Link and awesome anime graphic explosions and do that, I think people would love this game more.
They called that Infamous. They made a bunch of those.
And I love those games. I mean, I think ultimately that's why I went to the Muso route, because I realized that I think it's simplistic, it's linear, it's a beat 'em up, somewhat repetitive. I like that. I play those games all the time. So that's where my bias. I'm not in the scores aside. I don't care what you. I'm not saying the game's amazing. I think the score is right on 7, 7.5, 8. Like that's about where this game is.
Yep. Absolutely.
I just don't like the conversation around it.
Sure.
Like if you read some of these things, it's like, I hate this game, 7.5. I'm like, none of this is lining up.
I didn't go that route. I was not that bad. To my defense, I don't think I was that bad with my review of it. I point out some flaws, yes. Could I point out more things I would have done different? Sure, but I don't see that being a place for me when writing a review to say, here's what I would have done to make it better, because I'm not reviewing the game then. I'm just telling you what my version of said game would be.
Lucas, do you like the Dragon Ball Z? Have you ever done it?
I haven't really sat down and watched it. I was more of the friend who didn't watch it and just made fun of it on the side. But I'm not against it now. Like, I'm less making fun of it now. I was actually interested in the game because it does look really good.
The combat is a lot of fun. Like, when you really master it, there is a lot of fun to be had when you do it correctly. The only thing I was really say, the best thing about this game, and the big disagreement that Kevin and I had in the Discord, is that I would absolutely recommend this to somebody who's thinking of wanting to get into Dragon Ball Z.
See, this is the last point I want to make up. So the private comment I had to Lucas about this prior to the show, because he was asking more information about this, Donnie, was that if you never walked into this, this was your first intro to Dragon Ball Z, other than maybe seeing commercials, seeing kids with t-shirts on it,
it's
way more right. It is the equivalent of saying I learned about Star Wars from Star Wars Lego. You get snippets of the story, you get the gist, but you're just thrown into it, not necessarily understanding everything that happened.
I understand the point you're trying to make. I think the way that you're making it is overly dismissive of how good the animation is and how better that is over the source material. There's nothing in a Lego Star Wars game that's better than watching Star Wars the movie. There are things in Dragon Ball Z Kakarot that relate to the story that are better than the source material. Like, it's better, it's improved. It's the best way of seeing it.
Dropping into like the very first 30 minutes of the game, you're introduced to probably about 10 characters. Yeah. And coming from the outside, Lucas will probably know Goku, maybe Gohan, and maybe Piccolo.
Sure.
But they throw you right in as if you're supposed to know these people, like, hey, Master Yoshi trained this guy.
And this is the other point we argued. How is that any different than any other new game? Like, I just played Plague Tale, and I didn't know half the people when I started the game, but I'm not, like, going to go and talk about how I didn't know anybody.
No, that's... but you learn about them. These are already, like...
You learn about them if you kept playing the game.
But it's like saying, okay, I watched, Friends. I jumped in on season 4.
I understand.
There's a lot of stuff you're not going to understand.
I understand the point you're trying to make. There are Dragon Ball references that are before the story is technically taking place. As I said, there are side quests and memories that fill that in, but at the same time, I don't like that point being made as a deterrent to the game, because I don't think that's a consequential point. At no point does that change what the main story that you're experiencing does from that point forward.
Right, but I wish
it doesn't matter.
Instead of covering 8 years of a TV show in one game, do it smaller, make it and flesh out that story.
That we agree with. I would have liked it. So I really like that how much effort they put into the cutscenes and the story.
Absolutely.
Like, they basically take 300 episodes of Dragon Ball Z and they let you experience the best parts of it without any of the filler, and Dragon Ball Z has tons of filler. If you've never watched it, they have entire fights. One fight that span like 14 episodes. It takes 14 hours for you to get from point A to point B. This game does that in like 5 minutes of a cutscene. Yeah. And it's a really great way to digest it. That's why I think if you were interested in it, this gives you all of the knowledge without any of the investment. It's just, here's all the stuff without you spending 500 episodes to learn it. I also think because it's like a sandbox, you get to fly around, you get to throw like Kamehamehas whenever you want. I think it's a great game for like kids, man. Like, I gave the thing to Jack, and you talk about, who loves flying around, just collecting orbs? Jack. He flies around, collects orbs for hours, man. Fights random encounters. He doesn't care. He's not, trying to beat it so he can move on to the next thing, or, he's just having fun playing the game, and the game is a lot of fun. I've really, really been enjoying it, and it's intriguing because it seems like there is like a collective. This is what the game is, and as a fan, I just feel like it's getting a little disservice.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, as a fan, the game is great.
Yeah.
As a non-fan, it's a good game, not a great game. I think it's the difference.
How would that be any different than any other fan project?
Exactly. That's why I'm defending myself with that exact argument. You're attacking me, and I'm like,
I'm not
the same
attacking
thing as
you.
it would be for anything.
I'm not attacking you. I think
I said I was going to be the attack point because you couldn't talk to anybody else who wrote reviews.
The thing that makes me I hated seeing it because I saw it like 10 times. Like every review started with DBZ Kakarot is a love letter to fans. I'm like, isn't that what it's supposed to be? So why are you trashing it and like giving it a low score? Like, that's the goal. Make a love letter to fans. Like, that's the game. That's what you're trying to do. It sounds like mission accomplished.
7.5 or an 8 is not trashing a game.
I'm not. Let's see, but you're focusing on the score. I'm not focusing on the score. I'm focusing on the conversation. I don't give a crap about the number they stamp at the bottom. If you say how bad it is for 18 paragraphs and then you give it an 8, the 8 is null and void. It doesn't matter because you didn't say why you liked it.
But who actually reads them? They just jump to the score.
You just kind of glance over. Like, you know, it's it's just... I feel like reviews are just criticism. It's just how many things can we say critically about a game? And I don't feel like enough reviews are giving games credit for the things that they do well. You know, it's like, well, it's a good looking game. It's a great looking game. Like, give it credit for like the things it does well, you know? Like,
it's a great looking game because it looks just like the cartoon.
It looks better than the cartoon.
It's not like a hyper...
better than the cartoon.
But if you put it up against
side by side comparisons,
A Last of Us or something like to the cartoon, yes, it's a great looking cartoon. It's not a great looking game overall in the sense of like you compare it to a Last of Us, Horizon Zero Dawn, even like that.
So that would be an opinion that you're making based off of your like your desire for photorealism. I would gladly take a beautiful looking cartoon if done well. Like that's as good as any realistic graphics.
That's easier to replicate.
I mean, is it?
That's my point.
We have a lot of games like Control and Last of Us. We don't have a lot of cell shaded open worlds. Like, is it easier? Because it doesn't seem like a lot of people are doing it.
I just think people don't necessarily want it as much.
Man,
I don't know.
We'll see what
Ubisoft is doing that one.
As a huge Wind Waker fan, that really hurts.
Well, you know my stance on Wind Waker. Anyway, moving on. Let's keep it flowing here. The only other thing I'm playing right now is Horizon Zero Dawn, as I alluded to by mentioning it earlier, and I brought up in Discord too. Man, I really wish I didn't miss out on Days Gone and Horizon Zero Dawn earlier. Horizon Zero Dawn is a great game, an amazing story, beautiful combat system, the world I love with the robotic dinosaurs and whatnot. One of the things I just want to highlight, though, because this is old game is old. Alloy, whatever you want to say it. Aloy. The pronunciations are one of the things that annoy me in this game, because you look at things like this doesn't. You say things the way it's not spelled. I give kudos to this team for having a female lead character that can convey passion, drive a story, and they're not sexualizing her at all. Like you play Tomb Raider, sexualized. Anything else, like they even down to her clothes, like they don't try and do that thing where you're like, hey, you're playing in this medieval game. She's gonna wear a loincloth and nothing else, and the guy standing next to her is wearing full armor. They don't do any of that stuff. I like it. I applaud them for that. I don't think anybody really pushed that agenda before. Like Zelda in Breath of the Wild and Aloy are probably prime examples of where these things should be going versus a lot of the other games that are out there. But yes, kudos to that. Next up for me review wise is a game that Donnie brought to my attention. I haven't started playing it yet, but I will be able to talk about it. The review will be out by the time the next episode comes out, and that is Stone. So for those of you who don't know, Stone is a single player third person interactive story. Now brace yourselves, listen closely here. Where a hungover koala detective wakes to find his lover Alex has been kidnapped. Walk, talk, drink, dance, smoke, watch, sauna, trip, and find Alex. It's described as an Aussie stoner hip-hop noir story game.
Can't wait to play it.
I know, me either. I'm like, this is fantastic. Just by description alone. So that'll be the next review, and I'll be able to talk about that next week.
Kind of on the opposite side of that. I'm just kind of like, because that's fine as long as it doesn't take over the entire... Like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if there was a koala who got stoned all the time? I worry that it's going to be for stoners.
I'm here for it.
Like a dude, where's my car type game?
Yeah, instead of
I'm thinking
Lebowski,
like Lebowski.
If it's that's
it
fine.
Looks more like that just by the trailers. It looks
yeah.
more chill than you know,
the Lebowski
koala Express or something. Yeah,
as long as it's a little bit deeper than a koala smoking out of a giant bong or whatever.
I mean, I'll take that too. You know what? I'm here for that too. Either way. You know what? RPG systems are a little light. 7.5.
Yep. But he made a bong out of a watermelon.
9.7.
There's got to be crafting. That'll get a 10.
Exactly. The only other thing of note that I'll be able to talk about more next week, I did trade in a bunch of stuff. I kind of had a Donnie itch sensation there where I'm like, I have all this stuff. I'm not playing this. I'm not going to touch this again. Why am I holding on to it? It still has value. Let's trade it in. So I traded in a bunch of stuff. Got my copy of Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Did you get the Tom Nook thing that goes on your phone?
No, I did.
I just did the Amazon one. Nice. I just did the Amazon thing. So I pre-ordered that because I traded into Amazon because they actually giving me more credit than GameStop would have.
Sure. Yeah. That's
so I did that way. They're just giving you the regular game. So I did that. So that's covered when that drops. But I did get, and it will be here tomorrow, Ring Fit Adventure. So I can join Brother Lucas.
The Brotherhood of the Ring.
Ring Fat Adventure. So we can pop them booties. Yes. Booty popping adventures. So
I did some wide squats today, man. I unlocked some wide squats, and boy, I felt good. I mean, you literally are popping that booty.
Are you going to be able to do like the splits like
I will never
Van
be able
Damme?
to do the splits.
Splits.
I can't even like touch my toes without bending my knees.
Me either. Maybe someday we'll get there.
Someday.
So I have that, and so that'll be what I'll be talking about upcoming. Will be Stone and Ring Fit Adventure for next week, I'm sure.
Boy.
But Donnie, what else you got going on?
Oh man, I don't have the thing open. What did I type in there?
Life is Strange, which nobody cares about. But then you went back to Far Cry 5.
I care.
Oh man, I went back to Far Cry 5 after playing a Plague Sale for 3 hours, and I was like, I need to play Far Cry. And Kevin, I played the opening mission and like Semi-Carrot, and I was like, I'm so happy. Like I played it just for like the opening first mission. I was like, this game is so good. I'm so happy I decided to come back and play it.
I almost bought that too.
Playing a different character. Playing the male character this time, played the female character the first time.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see how that changes things and all that. But I'm trying to play like differently. So like instead of like, oh, I've got to take down the Seed family, like now I'm going to try to like give in to their temptation a bit and see what happens in the cutscenes.
Ooh, okay.
Totally did the spoiler ending where I didn't arrest him. I just sat there for a goof for like 5 minutes, and then they finally like the game just ends. It's like you did it, you left, you win, and I was like, this is crazy. It's so funny. But yeah, man, I'm gonna play it after this. I'm gonna play it tomorrow. Like I'm really excited to be playing that game again. But Lucas, the reason that we're here, the reason anybody's listening to the show is that we are here to talk about
Dragon Ball Z
virtual reality.
Yes,
Lucas, we are Oculus Bros. We've done it. I've joined it is. I've joined your clan in the PSVG Discord. We've taken over PC Masterface. It bows to the VR brethren.
It's true.
Man. I know we've got some questions, Kevin, so you work them in wherever you want. I've been playing all the VR things, so I'm going to talk about a couple of those games.
I'm proud of you for that, by the way.
And then I'll let you kind of steer the conversation. I just want to catch everybody up. I bought an Oculus Rift. The money that I was setting aside for the
No, you didn't buy a Rift.
I'm sorry. I bought a Quest. The money that I was setting aside for what I think is the inevitable TLU 2 PS4 Pro, I just gave to the Oculus Quest. Like in a moment of impulsivity, I won't be getting a Pro. I'm just going to be playing The Last of Us 2 on my standard PlayStation 4. And I'm really, really excited. I like VR a lot. I wanted to say this first. My opinions on... I'm going to say things like about PlayStation VR, and it's going to sound like it might sound bad, and it's not meant to be that way. PlayStation VR is the reason why I got interested in VR. Like, they are the reason. So hats off, kudos to PlayStation, because like when they started doing it, I wasn't even interested in any of this. It wasn't until I started seeing Beat Saber and like rhythm games I I love Rock Band and Lumines. I'm like, oh, that stuff speaks to me. And I got Beat Saber on PlayStation VR, and I was like, I love this game. And I started looking at YouTube and all the people that play Beat Saber on PC, and they customize it, and they've got new songs. And I was like, that's the Beat Saber experience that I want to be playing. There is, or at least for me, I think like any Wii owner will understand exactly what I'm trying to say right now. Like the moment that I got PlayStation VR, there was that, this is really cool, I'm playing in VR, but there was also like that instant, yeah, but this is probably not as good as it could be. Like you just feel like you're kind of playing like, it's entry level. It's like, man, I bet this is really, really cool. Like with HD graphics and
Yeah.
if we were cordless and we didn't have all these things and all that type of stuff. You know, like there's a part of me that always felt that way. So when I got the Quest, I got to tell you, man, I was blown away to cut the cord, to put that headset on, to play Beat Saber with no cord in the room and still be like Oculus Quest can beam to Chromecast natively.
Yeah, that's really cool.
You just go stream and it shows up on the TV. So it's not like an isolated experience. You can still play with everyone else in the room, which is that's how we mainly play VR. Is we pull out the VR and we play as a family. It's like one of the last hurrahs that me and the kids still play games together is we trade the VR unit because my daughter loves VR. She always has. PlayStation to now, she plays it. So I'm really, really excited that I got it. I think I was like, after the trade and everything, I think I was Oculus for like $100 and I sold my PlayStation VR for more than that. So it was just basically a straight trade. I traded a PS4 and VR for the Oculus. And since then, I've been buying games, basically trying to replace my PlayStation VR library. So, Lucas, I wrote down the games that I've bought on my Oculus Quest, and I'll let you ask me which one you want to talk about first.
Okay.
Tea Time Golf, Beat Saber, 2MD Virtual Reality Football, Drop Dead Dual Strike, Pistol Whip, and The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners.
Ooh, man. I mean, I gotta say, I'm surprised at the sports games on there. So I want to know how this football game
Have you not played it?
No, I don't even know what it is.
I played this game on PlayStation VR. I bought it when it was on sale for like $8. It is a football game where you play as the quarterback.
Quarterback? Okay.
You stand there in a stadium and you can see all the players on the field. You can go to a dry erase board. You can draw your own routes. You can set up your own plays. And you literally drop back and you throw the ball down the field. If you score a touchdown, you get like this little ring mini game where you can run up the score.
Oh, wow.
And Jack, my son, absolutely loves this football game. He's all into the football. He's diehard. He's got that itch right now, and he plays this game constantly. And I got to admit, it is pretty fun. I wouldn't pay like most I would pay for is like $20, but if you can get it for less than that, totally a lot of fun to have. Fun game.
My question is, how is the throwing? Because I find throwing to be very awkward.
On PlayStation 4, on PlayStation VR, we had a lot of problems. Like there were lots of times where we would throw it and the ball would go into the ground and zip off the other way. On Oculus, with those new controllers and like that, I don't know, like Oculus is crazy, Kevin, because it actually like registers your grip without you pressing buttons. So you can like push buttons with your finger without pushing buttons on the controller. You can make fists in games. Like you can do all of this without actually pressing. It's not button commands. You can just do it just by moving your hands around the controller. So it's a lot better. It's a lot better. I was playing that game the first day. Unlike on PlayStation VR, on Oculus Quest, man, I'm dropping like 45-yard bombs to the corner of the touchdown, just elwaying it in there, man. And it's a lot of fun. It's kind of dumb. Like basically the characters. It's like those old school football like air table games where they all just kind of like bunch into each other. So the whole really idea is freeing up your receivers to run, and then you just throw it. And basically, if you throw it and they're near the ball without a defender being like between the two, they'll catch it. You know, it's not like Madden. I'm not trying to express that at all. But if you've ever wanted to, it's the game that got my father-in-law interested in it. Because he loves football. And when he saw that we were playing football, because it is cool, it's very colorful, and you have the stadium audience sounds like in your ear, you see the scoreboard in the sky, and you can look around, there's like 3 levels of people, and you see the whole field. And that is really cool. Like that VR experience just alone is really neat.
Nice. How about when I would throw things in games, especially like grenades and stuff, I couldn't get out of my head that I was going to accidentally throw my controller, even though it was like connected to my wrist. It still felt weird to somehow let go, but at the same time hold on to the controller.
Sure.
So that was probably the biggest concern that I had when playing a game about throwing a football the whole time.
We did talk the first week I got it, because I've had it for a couple weeks now. One of the things with Oculus Quest with the touch controllers, one of the things that I encountered playing Beat Saber is that if you were squeezing the handles too much, the battery covers would slip off. and uncover like the battery, like because they're like magnetic, so they're not like snapped in there by like a pin. You just break the seal and they pop off.
There, I have mine right here. Mine's different though. We found out because my rings go below my hand instead of above like yours do, so I don't have as much problem. Like mine, they just
see, that's how easy they come off. You can just push them. So I did some Googling. This is actually a problem for Quest owners, like a lot of people bring it up. They make grip cases, kind of like Wiimote grip cases, but like more textured and rugged than that. And I bought those and they're like $15 and I slid them in there. Problem solved. Put the wrist strap on, good to go. Never had an issue since. So that's a lot of fun.
Nice.
What next?
What about this golf game then? We'll keep the sport train going.
Tea Time Golf I've actually streamed a bunch. I got on Steam. This is a game for $3 was on sale, and it has VR support. And I'm actually glad we're talking about this one because I've played it with a controller just by itself. It's like a little mini Hot Shots wannabe, and it's fun. It's good. Good golf game, good graphics, fun times. I played it in VR. Now, with the Oculus Quest, you can plug it into your PC through the Oculus Link, which is just the USB-C cable that can do power. That's all that means. So I bought the cable off Amazon for $15.
Smart man.
And I played Steam VR. So you can play Steam VR through the Oculus Quest. You're not just restricted to just playing on Quest. It's plug and play. You just plug it in, start the game, start Steam VR, put the headset on, and it pops up in the headset. So that's good. It's easy. The controls don't seem to work in Steam VR as well as like Oculus native support. So like trying to recenter the camera, like I'm holding down the Oculus menu button to recenter the camera, didn't work. Like I was trying to change my view, like this way instead of looking this way, and I couldn't. And I even like restarted the game and like turned the headset this way and then started it again, and it still was facing the other way. And there's just nothing I could do about it. So my time with Tea Time Golf, at least in a VR space, is I probably just want to buy it on Oculus. I'll probably want to buy it again on the Oculus Store, so it's just fully supported. It still seems like that Steam VR via Oculus is kind of like a beta. It's like something that they've made happen, but it's not really supported. I've also read that controls in games are not always, because they're like using the Steam controllers versus the Oculus controller.
Yeah.
So like it's not like real good right now. Or at least my experience through it wasn't great.
I've had similar quirks. I mean, it's not definitely the most smooth transition. A lot of the time, the Oculus games just tend to work better than the Steam VR ones. What about Pistol Whip? Because I thought you brought this up when I talked about Super Hot VR.
Super Hot VR is great, and I will be rebuying it. It is a lot of fun. Kyle got me into Super Hot. Basically, was like it's like the Matrix, right? Because as you move, like everything else moves around you. Pistol Whip is like the Matrix meets Beat Saber. So you're like an auto runner. You start running down this corridor. It's all these crazy neon colors and stuff, Kev. People pop out. It's like it's like a light gun game, like on like an acid trip. Like Blood, what is the Far Cry Blood Moon or Blood Dragon, whatever?
Blood Dragon.
Yeah, Blood Dragon.
That plus light gun game, Pistol Whip. All these colors, neon things, these people pop out. You get to see their laser sights. So they turn their laser sights to you. They shoot, and you see the rings of the sound waves off the bullets as they come.
Oh, nice.
But it's not slow motion. It's go. Like you're going. So you have to dodge. And then you shoot them. You aim at the ground to reload. You have pistols in both hands. And you go. And it's like the synth music is pumping. And it's just pow, 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 pow. I took a little bit of like a GIF video of my kids playing it. I mean, at one point my son was like on the floor. Like he just laid down. Because I mean, like it really will put you in limbo because you're dodging one this way and this one, and then you lift your leg, you like move around. If you want to be active and you want to be like immersed in something, it's a lot of fun. And sometimes they get crazy. Like you'll walk up to a level like the Matrix where like 10 of the agents will just appear, and you've got to go through them all like as fast as you can. And if you're too slow, they'll shoot you. And you start all over and you do it all over again. And it's score based. So it's a great game to take the headset off, pass it over here, let them go, run through the same level with the Chromecast, stream it. Everybody gets to watch. A lot of fun.
That's so cool. Walking Dead.
Ooh. So this is the new one, Kev. This is a brand new game that just released.
See, I'm interested in this because I heard it's not so great. So I want to hear what you say.
Who told you that?
There was numerous articles said
this game is amazing. This is what I bought VR to play. It's the game. Like this is the VR ultimate like full game experience. Not a bite-sized thing, not a rhythm like flail your hands thing, not the gimmick. This is a fully realized virtual world VR game. It's Zombie U meets like The Walking Dead full VR.
I read one article when you had mentioned it because I was like, oh, this is out now. And it had said that something I've played a lot of, Arizona Sunshine, used to be basically the bar that most zombie shooter games were measured for or towards. As in, this was kind of like where we've set the bar now. This is a great game. And this has surpassed that and created a new bar that other games have to reach to be as good as this Walking Dead game. So what I read was positive, basically, is what I'm saying.
I jumped in.
That was only one article.
I paid full $40. This is like, I just, day one, started playing it. I've played maybe 4 hours. The thing that I love about the game so much is the immersion. Not so much like I don't want to call it the game, like the game design. The game design, I feel like, is going to get repetitive because you have a mission somewhere. You know what? Let me start over. Kev, stop typing. Here's the thing.
I'll find the article.
Here's the best thing about this game. All right. I'm just going to sell you right now. When you kill a zombie, you feel it. And here's what I mean by that. In the training mode, as you start going through, you get a screwdriver. And you go to hit a zombie in the head with a screwdriver, and it only goes in like halfway. And you gotta push it in there. And then you've got to grab the zombie by the head, and you gotta pull it out. And you feel the vibration in the hand. Like, you feel like you're doing it. Man. That is something I have never, ever experienced in a video game before. And that alone almost makes it amazing. Now, you go through the little story setup and all that, and basically here's how this works. You get put in a bus. This bus is like your home. It's your safe. It's your base, right?
Okay.
You go into the map. The map basically tells you where you need to go next. Like, here's your next area. Here's what you need to do. You need to go get a microphone because you're trying to put together this radio so you can talk to these people, right? So you get on your little skiff or your little rowboat or whatever. You go over there, and you've got to go into like a mansion. The entire time you have a watch that's set to time when the church bells go off. Because when the church bells go off, all the zombies get riled up and you don't want to be outside. So it's almost like a time-based thing. Like, you got to get in and get out. You can go off kind of in any direction. You can go through any house. You can scavenge. You can collect as much as you want. All these things, materials, matches, water bottles, food, whatever. You're constantly putting all this stuff in your backpack.
What is it, Skyrim?
It is kind of until you complete whatever
so you get
mission.
An arrow in the knee.
Until you complete whatever your mission is, and then like sometimes you'll come across people in that area that'll ask you for like side quests. Like, they're like, hey, go kill my family member, or go get this thing, or something like that. My husband became a zombie. I can't kill him. Can you do it for me? If you do it, I'll give you the thing. So you do all that. You go back to the base. You dump all of your crafts material into this box that like breaks it down in the materials for you to craft new stuff. This is the part I don't like about it. To craft new, better things to go further the next day. And you kind of just keep doing that. But the immersion that you feel walking around at dusk, hearing the zombies, they're there. They're around the van or behind the corner. And then when you get cornered and they come on and you pull out an axe and you're holding it with both controllers and you slam that axe into them and it doesn't go all the way through and they're still reaching for you and you're like trying to shake them off the axe so you can hit it again. That experience is what sells the game. There's been no immersive that's the VR moment where it's like, this is why you buy VR. It's better than anything else you can get. Like, there's no other video game experience that gives you that. The style is kind of like it has like the Telltale-esque Walking Dead. Everybody's not cartoony, but kind of like that. But it's a bit more realistic than those games are too. It's like a mix. It works. It works really, really well. It doesn't make me sick. I like moving around. You walk with the joystick, and you can look with your eyes. And if you look with your eyes, your general direction as you're walking will walk
Changes.
that way.
Yeah.
So it's very, very good. You're not like clicking over here, putting a marker down, and then zip upping forward.
The teleport option.
Yeah, I hate that. No, this feels good.
Do you get that sensation when you start moving forward, though, that your whole body's like, oh, we're moving right now, and then you kind of like, okay, I'm okay.
I don't. And I think it's because when
this teetering effect,
when you move in the game, the vision kind of like silhouettes, especially like when you turn. And I was reading that they're doing that specifically to like lessen that feeling. And there's even a slider in the game where if you still don't feel like, you can turn it up. It's like, like less motion sickness, and you turn it up and it'll enhance that effect even more. The really cool thing that I think about this game is that the entire like HUD is your body. So all of your weapons are in your backpack. And to grab your backpack, you take your controller, you reach it over your left shoulder, you pull the trigger, and you literally pull your backpack out and you grab things out of it.
Yeah.
Then you can strap them to both holsters on your right and left hip. You have a flashlight on your left shoulder, so you can grab your flashlight, you can turn it on, you can still put it on your shoulder, you can clip it to your shirt, and it'll stay on. And then on your right shoulder, you have like a journal in your pocket. You pull out the journal, and it shows you your map, it shows you your mission, it shows you what you're supposed to do. You can look at letters that you find and stuff like that. And it's like you're flipping through a notebook. And that's happening like Zombie U in real time as you're sitting out there totally like able to be killed. So it has that intensity too. And the world looks decayed and decrepit and detailed. Lots of stuff left over, like, children's toys and things, like all kinds of overgrowth and pipes bursting and things like that. That's in there. It's not like some bland generic world. Like it's all there. It's fully realized.
Now, who takes off their backpack by going like this? Get over his arms. You gotta take one arm at a time. Like, reality, my ass. So you mentioned the sickness thing a little bit. So we did a question here from Brian. He wants to know, how long can you play at a time and not get the headaches, nausea, so on and so forth, or do you not experience these problems?
I have experienced those problems before. When I was playing on PlayStation VR, I was really excited to play like Paranormal Activity or something like that, and that game made me almost sick to my stomach. Like within 15 minutes, I was like, I can't do this. I traded in the next day. I haven't had that experience with Oculus yet. With any of the games I've been playing, any of these games, none of them have made me feel that way. I think it's honestly, it's hard to explain why this might be the case, but I think if you've ever played PlayStation VR, I think you'll understand it. It's crazy how freeing it is to know that you don't have a cord that you're tethered to anything. Because when you have a cord, you're almost hesitant to move because you don't know where the cord is and you don't know where you are. So even though you can move, you're not like really gonna move. When you have no cord, now with the Oculus, I'm moving everywhere. Like we clear the room. Kevin, the other thing I didn't tell you.
He's in the yard.
I didn't tell you about this, but I think you'll think it's really cool. When you play Oculus, you take the controller, you draw a safe space on the ground. So like when you play the game, it boots up and you see your surroundings, like this matrixy grid of your surroundings. And you basically draw your boundary and you go, here's my safe space. I'm going to play in this circle. Kevin, here's the cool thing. It remembers the circles you draw in all the rooms of the house. So like if you draw in the living room and you draw one in the basement and you go back to the living room and you turn it on, it's like, here's your guardian. Do you want to change it? You're like, no, this is exactly the space I left the other day. And you can go from like room to room and it'll remember. It recognizes where you are. It recognizes where the floor is and it sets your height based on like how you set in and all that. Like it's Oculus is really blowing me away. It's
Big Brother.
It's next level stuff, man. It's really, really good. It's just, man, it's better. Like it's just, I don't want to say bad things about PlayStation VR, but like these experiences are not very comparable. Like it is. Well, no,
and that's the thing.
PSVR
PSVR has been pretty much established as, hey, this is a great entry point for VR.
Yeah, it is.
You've now escalated from, you tried it out and you're like, okay, I like certain things that happen. Now I want to get the real deal. And now you're into that world. Right. Where Lucas was like, I know greatness. I'm jumping right into it.
Yeah, I've been alone for 3 years in this space. So yeah, I don't know about that, but I actually experienced, coming from specifically just the PC side, where you really have to worry about whether or not your PC can run this or not. I played Project Cars for the first time, and I'm always excited about a game where you sit in a cockpit because they seem to, man, that sounds really bad. They seem to.
I was thinking that. I was like, man, PSVG Prime.
They seem to really sell the feeling of depth and everything, because you know you have this. It feels like you're sitting in a car or a jet fighter or mech or whatever. So I was excited to play Project. I almost said Project Gotham Racing.
Gotham Racing, me
Wow.
too. I love playing that one in VR.
Yeah, Project Cars. And here's the problem: I didn't know what to set it to, so I just kind of left it where I normally would have outside of VR, and it ran at like 30 frames per second, but I didn't realize it because I was in VR, and I played it for about 5 minutes. And they recommend you get about 90 frames per second, 75 depending on what you're playing. And suddenly I'd never had motion sickness before in my life, really. And all of a sudden this just awful like green feeling, you know, in cartoons when somebody's face turns green and you're just like, oh, I felt like that. And it lasted for like 15 minutes. It was horrible. And that's when I realized, oh, I really have to be serious about what these games are running at. I can't just go like, I'll just set it to maximum settings and then deal with it later. No, it really does make a difference, even from somebody who doesn't get car sickness or headaches really or anything like that. Other than that, I pretty much can go however long I feel like going in VR. I haven't ever really timed myself.
When I played Saints and Sinners the first time, I played for about 3 or 4 hours straight.
Yeah. If it's working, it shouldn't be a problem, unless you're very, very...
So for anybody listening, that game doesn't run on the Quest standalone. That's a Rift game that I'm playing through my PC. So that's a big part of why I got the Oculus, is I have this new PC. So I can plug it in and run it. I've had no problems running any VR games through the Rift, but I've got a pretty beefy PC now.
So another thing for folks to consider, besides, you know, potential headaches, nausea, depending on the person, of course, is glasses. Now, you both wear glasses. I know Lucas specifically goes out to try and get contacts when he wants to play VR, especially. Yes. So Chalfie asks, is the Oculus glasses wearer friendly overall? So
the Quest is.
Your takes on that.
The Quest comes with its own little comfort thing for people that wear glasses that basically set the screen just a little bit further from your eyes than normal. So it's like they have 2 different settings. It's like if you wear glasses, put this in here. If you don't wear glasses, like leave the foam in. So you just like rip the foam out, put the foam back in, and I play with glasses on, and I have no problems at all.
Nice. They've come a long way, because I have like chunky glasses, much larger than, plus my head is wide anyway, much larger than yours. And I could never play with glasses on, quite honestly. But I do know, if I hadn't gotten contacts around the same time anyway, they do make lens kits that you can swap out the lenses that are in the Oculus with whatever your prescription is. It's not super cheap, but it's not the cost of glasses or contacts.
That's crazy. Wow.
Or maybe it is like the cost of buying contacts, and you can swap them in, and then you don't have to worry about wearing anything. You can just, you know, do your thing.
Cool. I didn't even know that.
It's like wearing nothing at all.
Exactly. Except for a hot, sweaty, warm Oculus Rift headset on your face.
So speaking of a hot, sweaty, warm headset, the other thing I think some people forget to consider if you're not in this VR landscape is, yep, you're wearing the big dorky helmet thing going on, and you got your controllers in your hands, you're playing things there. Audio not included. So that's a separate thing you need to think about. But so Nathan asks, what are you using for headphones?
But here's the thing with the Quest is the audio is included. You don't have to wear headphones.
Oh,
yeah.
It has audio that projects towards your ears, and it's good. It's not like bad. It's not like this throw-in thing. It's very, very good. We don't play with headphones. So I know Nathan is the audiophile. He's going to play with headphones whenever possible. Yep. We don't. We literally just turn the speakers on and we just play, and that's it.
Yeah. So you have like it's not really okay. So this is what I have. This is what comes with the Rift. It's kind of looks just like your basic pair of on-ear.
Oh, we don't have that at all.
$9 headphones, you know, but they're actually really, really good. And the reason why they are detachable. So if you're worried and want to go all audiophile, you can take these off. I have not, because I do not want over the ear headphones when I'm playing VR, so that I can still somewhat hear the room around me, because the thing about VR when you're down in a basement by yourself is as soon as you put the headphone or the headset on, you feel like there's a murderer in the room who's about to stab you at any minute, because you're by yourself. You're just like, what's going on around me? So yeah, they're good. So I never felt the need to swap them out.
This is the Quest. You can see there's no like flaps or flanges for ear pads or anything like that. It's just there. You can plug in headphones if you want. Any headphones that you have, it doesn't matter. You don't have to have special headphones. Plug in any headphones. But even as it is right now, it has speakers that project the sound towards your ears, and you can hear it perfectly. It's just
That's kind of cool.
It's not a problem at all.
Nice.
So yeah, Nathan, you don't need to darn headphones.
Oh, Nathan has like $700 headphones.
He's got Dolby
Sennheisers
Atmos in his Dolby Atmos in his VR. All right, so we've talked a lot about VR, but we got one last question to kind of wrap things up here from Nathan Thomas yet again. What have been your top 5 VR experiences so far? Go.
I have
same thing for both of you. We're short on time. You talk over each other. Go.
If you want a second, I already answered this question, wrote down my notes so that I could answer it pretty quickly. So number 5, I talked about it before in our VR special, but Wolf in the Walls is a really cool cinematic experience. As a refresher, it's the one where the character that you watch draws you into existence. And I sat down on the floor with her. I helped her and her mom jar jam, basically. Like, there's all these little things that you do, and you're her imaginary friend, but you're also kind of real. It's really interesting. It's like a 20-minute experience or something like that. Very cool. So a cool cinematic experience, and there's a lot of other cinematic movie-esque things that you can watch for free. A game called Pickup League Hockey is a sports VR game. Obviously, it's hockey. That is pretty much dead right now, as far as I can tell. But it's a good kind of like, could I ever play NHL 2025 and have it be in VR? Could I play as the goalie in VR? Could I be a center in VR? And in this, it's a little awkward, but you're skating, you're shooting the puck with your actual like you would in the Wii or anything like that. You're moving, your movements translate into the game. So they do not have goalies, but you can shoot. And I mean, if you're into hockey, that's really all you need, unless you're a
Triple
goalie.
D.
All day.
Oh, yeah.
Number 3, this was a really interesting experience. It was the Reggie Watts in Altspace VR comedy special. You had to basically reserve your spot.
Said that. Yeah.
And this was early in VR too. And I did that, and it was a really cool multiplayer experience that they did not have the bandwidth for at all. Everyone was lagging the whole time. It worked for probably about 5 to 10 minutes, and then everyone was getting dropped constantly. Like, it was way too popular. But it really showcased the dregs of humanity, because you got you're not funny, and like people somehow got up on the stage even though they weren't supposed to be able to, or something like that. It was just really not that great, but it was a really cool, interesting experiment that they did. Mm-hmm. And a fun multiplayer experience. Number 2, Dread Halls. This is a horror game that I actually had recommended to Donnie. I told him that it wasn't really going to blow your mind probably, but it was my first experience in a VR game, period, basically. But it's also a horror game in which you are trying to navigate labyrinths and mazes, and you have these creatures that are following you, but they don't react exactly like you would expect. For instance, there's a gargoyle statue that only moves when your back is turned. And so when you turn around, it will have moved closer to you, which doesn't sound that frightening until it's in VR and it's physically looking like it's getting closer to you. When you turn around and it's right in your face, that's scary. Like
Zombie U effect.
Yes. Yeah. I thought of the Weeping Sister, whatever.
Yes, Weeping Angels.
Yeah, Weeping Angels. Very, very interesting game from that aspect. I mean, if you go through it going, oh, I'm playing a VR game, how could I get scared? You probably won't get scared. But if you let your mind go into that space, you will find a lot of horror games that are very, very scary. Number one top overall game, like this VR thing could work as a game, as a killer app type deal. Robo Recall. I got this for free because I pre-ordered the Rift, I think, or something like that. Basically, it was free, but it wasn't done yet. And so when it finally came out and was ready, I assumed, okay, this is going to suck because it's free. But it's from the Oculus Studios, so how bad could it be?
Right.
I downloaded it. Basically, it's a shooter game. You can shoot with both hands. You pick weapons, and you navigate through these city streets in a futuristic city setting, and you do have to teleport to get places, but the gunplay is so good. You're fighting against these robots that have a very specific look, and you're basically recalling all of them by destroying them. And sometimes you have to pick them up and throw them into this portal. Other times you just destroy them. But the way that you can destroy these things, it's not just a shooting game. You can use your fists. You can grab them and pull them apart. The way they like jump up and get launched in the air when you shoot them with certain weapons, and you can juggle them, and all sorts of things. Plus, you're dodging bullets the whole time. You're dodging getting shot by them. There's boss battles here and there. It was really, really awesome. I got so engrossed in the game that I play in my basement, and I have a shorter ceiling that's only about 7.5 feet. And there's these flying enemies that are basically drones. And I forgot that I can't really shoot upward. So I I basically punched the ceiling.
I've done that to my ceiling fan.
Yeah, oh gosh, that'd be way worse. But yeah, I smashed my fingers on the ceiling, and I'm like, oh wait, I can't shoot directly above me. But yes, that was one of the first games where I was just like, this is an actual game. Like, this is something that I could recommend to somebody, and I wouldn't feel bad. Like, it's not done, or it's done by like one person, so it kind of sucks, but you get the feeling of blank, whatever. No, fully polished game. Really good. So
I didn't create a list beforehand, so I think my list would be just me saying a bunch of other things. So I'll just read off a few highlights. For Nathan, 100% that Vader experience in Oculus is awesome.
I want to do that. Yeah.
It's really good. And the reason that I know he's going to love it is it doesn't like retell you Star Wars. It kind of like ventures off, and it doesn't change the canon, but it's like a different angle. So from a story perspective, if you're a Star Wars fan, there's a lot to be desired. From a gameplay perspective, I think moving around in it's like weird. It does the teleporting thing, which I hate.
Yeah.
But when you have the moments where you're wielding lightsabers, boy, does it work. It works so good. There's this one moment, spoil a little bit, where you are basically fighting off droids back to back with Vader. Like, he's covering this side and you're covering this side, and the dudes are dropping in from all angles and you've got to take them on. Dude, like, that's VR. Like, how better. And Kevin, when you click the trigger, like, you grab the lightsaber, you click the trigger, and it goes zzz,
yep.
And you're just like, and it has the training game that you see in the movies. You have the training game. A little droid comes in, starts shooting stuff, and it does that. Jack loves that little training game, so 100% for him. I really like Drop Dead Dual Strike. It's basically like House of the Dead VR, basically, and that's kind of what it is, comic-y little thing. I think it's really good. To date, I don't think I have played better things than Beat Saber, Pistol Whip, and Saints and Sinners. Like, those games are fantastic.
I need to get Beat Saber.
Yeah, those Beat Saber. I have now bought Beat Saber and all DLC on PlayStation VR digitally. So like when I traded to Josh got none of that, and then bought it all again on Oculus. Like, just happily, just give it all. And I probably will buy it on Steam so I can hack it through Steam VR and play it that way as well. Beat Saber is the new Rock Band. It's my favorite. Like, we really love that to be able to take the Oculus with us in a little pouch, no less. Not like a big thing. Yeah, no box, no console, anything like that.
Like a headphones, like when you have over the ear headphones and you have.
We can play Beat Saber wherever. We can go to the cabin and play it. Like, no internet required or anything like that. It's worth it. Like, it's so really, really good. So those are great games. I want to ask you a question, both of you. I mean, I guess Kevin can answer in this too. Are there any current existing games, Lucas, that you would like to see in VR? Because I've got a couple.
Ooh. Well, I mean, I told you about Resident Evil 7. That was supposed to be in VR.
I can't believe,
I don't know what they're waiting for. It's unbelievable.
Well, the Resident Evil 8 is supposed to be all first person. That just screams VR.
Yeah, that would be nice. Honestly, though, it is a little hard to play horror games all the time. If you're the type of person who like can only play a horror game for so long and has to set it down, it's even worse in VR. I mean, if you talk about your heart rate being risen the entire time. So, man, can I?
The best horror experience that I've played was PlayStation VR's Until Dawn: Rush of Blood. It's basically a shooter. You're in a little roller coaster, and you're going through like this, horrific carnival type thing, and horrific carnival type things pop out at you while you go through and shoot things. That's basically what it is.
I mean, I think like a Gears of War or a Halo would really kind of work in this scenario. I don't know like what the game would be, but I think those almost superhero-esque, like that world, those worlds, bombastic, war everywhere, just completely entranced by the entire environment. Yeah. I think probably Halo maybe a little bit more because it wouldn't have to be so brown and gray.
I'm going to piggyback off of yours, and I'll see your Halo, and I will raise you one Link's crossbow training.
Oh, yeah.
The two games that immediately come to mind is how much fun it would be if I could play Call of Juarez in VR, like Gunslinger, or, Kevin, Fatal Frame in VR. Being able to move,
that'd be messed up.
360
That's a heart
and
attack.
stuff. That would be ideal.
Yeah, the ones that popped for me right away, I was actually in like a Far Cry game in VR would be awesome. Because those worlds and like the bow and arrow mechanics or even the gunplay mechanics, that could be fun. But then, because it's me, Fallout. Now, it's not a beautiful looking game as far as the color schemes that Lucas was literally just describing, greens and grays. But imagine having that feel of being in like the power armor.
They do have Fallout 4 VR.
Yeah, but I heard it wasn't that good. They're just kind of
better than the
Doom just VR, like the Skyrim VR was just kind of like forced into.
Yeah,
it
needs to be a full. It can't be a port.
It needs to be designed for VR, not ported to VR. I agree.
Yeah.
All right, I think that wraps up the VR then. So let's move on to the other questions we got, non-VR related. So it's time to check out the messages. First one comes from Caro, because I called them out. I picked 3 people again to call it this week and make them give us questions. First one was Caro. Would being a mail carrier suck? I actually thought about this randomly last week. I'm like, it's kind of a sweet gig because you kind of just go, you do your route, and you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it takes you all day, it takes you all day. If it takes you 2 hours, you get paid for the whole day. It's not like you report back to do something. So that's kind of cool. Weather sucks though.
Yeah.
But you're just left alone. You can just do your own thing. So that's kind of good. I'm going to take it up a step notch higher and say being Caro's mail carrier would suck.
Yeah,
the amount of packages from Japan, if something's squished or late, she's going to kill people.
She's like at the post office. She's like, what happened? Where were you today?
Okay, I'm still in the chat.
The average salary for a mail carrier is about $32,000.
Yeah.
So it's not. I mean,
that'd be problematic. That'd be problematic. But like, instead of going postal, like Caro goes postal on the postal service. Not like it's vice versa here. So it's like, yeah, it's not.
I mean, our post op, like, so we leave our mail person like cookies for Christmas and give them candy on Halloween and stuff like that.
Wow.
So we try to make it nice and stuff like that.
We have like 3 different mail carriers, so I don't even know. Like, I don't like one of them. I should say he seems to be the guy who always shows up 2 hours later than everybody, And he was on his phone one time, so I thought about calling the post office and telling him. But I don't even know if the person I meant for them to get anything would actually get it. But
I think you stole my grocery store ad.
That's right.
I take care of the person. I have a lot of packages that's delivered. Like, I'm going to give them some sugar cookies, some candy, like be nice
just
to the person.
Sugar. Maybe you should just give them sugar.
Don't want boxes. Sugar? I don't want boxes and things start going missing. But like, I don't know what happened.
True. But I've much like Kevin, I felt like if I could just pop in some headphones and walk around, get some exercise in, nobody talks to me. The only bad thing would be waking up early to get the mail.
Well, you realize though, like they have like packed, like early. It's not like a leisurely job. They have a lot of houses. It's like a packed schedule from start to finish.
Yeah, you're not done till you're done.
Same thing every day. Like you just keep going to the same route over and over again.
I feel like that's like 80% of most jobs. Well, about 95% of most jobs that I could do, but also 80% of every job ever. But yes, I mean, yeah, but
it's no like creativity in it.
If I had to, well, yeah, exactly. Again, any of the jobs that I could attain.
Oh, come on.
You know how easy it is to get back into the job market when you've gone to film school for a year, 2, and haven't worked for like 5 years?
That's why my wife has not gone back to work. My wife won't go back to work because she can't. Like her job, whatever job she would get would be so mundane and so pointless. It's like, no, because she's been on the job market for so long, being a stay-at-home mom. It's like going back to work after that is almost like, what are you going to do? Work at a gas station or something like that. She doesn't want to do that. Like, screw that.
Yeah. I'm supposed to be CEO of a company right now.
Yeah. Like, but like, imagine, like, you see those people that like that direct traffic and they dance. Like, what if you were the dancing mailman? Like I can see you doing that, Lucas. You get your little headphones in. Like
I can see that person getting arrested.
I can see Lucas doing that once again. It's not
bit by
it
a
is what
dog,
it is.
and then I end
just
up
walking
on
down the
YouTube
street.
or something. Heck yeah.
Do your male folks actually walk? Like you guys keep talking walking. My male folks don't walk.
They drive to the end of the street and
they walk up and down the street.
So you guys live in like really, really condensed neighborhoods then.
Yeah.
They got to be flat. Like you couldn't walk my neighborhood.
When I was a kid, he drove. He or she, they drove everywhere because it's too far apart.
Yeah, mine just
never.
Down
See, well, that's not fun then.
Done.
All right. Next question, because we called him out. Bobby the Nintendo Guru, if you could talk to any celebrity who has passed away, who would it be, and what would you say to them? Lucas.
I'd hit up Prince, the artist formerly known and still known as Prince, and I would ask him, "You want to party?"
That's a good one. That's a good answer.
Yeah, so is this what it feels like when doves cry?
Yeah. He'd be like, "What, so I can die again?" No. OD.
Fair.
Did you actually play table tennis with Jimmy Fallon, or did you just make that up after you died? Did that really happen?
No kidding. I need to know what's real and what he would still not tell me.
That's true.
He probably would barely even talk. He'd be like, "Wouldn't you like to know?"
I feel like he'd whisper everything. Like he wouldn't actually talk. You'd be like, "So Prince, what's it like being your revolutionary?" Like,
he just flashes his eyes at you.
I'm sorry. What?
I mean, you got to play basketball. Like if Chappelle's anything,
that is true. I cannot. It better.
He
be
was like
half
3'2". He can't play basketball,
dude. Apparently, he could ball, just like Michael Jordan, man.
When I read that book about him, they said, he wanted to play basketball apparently, and it was some reporter, and he thought he had a friendship with him, and they were supposed to like hang out.
At this point,
Kevin?
Are you going to take the stance that you think Prince is not good at anything? Because I don't think it's been documented that he's not amazing at anything he wants to do.
Oh well, no, that's fair. I'm saying
like everything he's ever wanted to do, he's amazing at.
Unfortunately, apparently he was a giant a-hole though, so he took all of his ability.
When you're rich and that, like, I mean,
the
kind of comes with it. Why would you not be?
The typical bad childhood. His parents didn't love him, and now he can just be an a-hole to everybody.
And that's why he wore pants with no ass cheeks.
Oh, is that why?
Mm-hmm. I don't have an answer. I don't know, man. I don't know if I'd like to, like a celebrity. Like I don't know what I would ask them. Like I don't know what I would ask a live celebrity, let alone a dead celebrity. I don't know.
Well, so what would you do with them if you could pick somebody then? Like,
what you do?
not like that, Lucas. God,
I'm sorry.
You two are a perfect match for each other. Let me just say that. Okay, if there was a celebrity that I could resurrect and talk to or hang out with, it would probably be Chris Cornell. Only because I was an absolute huge fan. And really treasured the one time I got to see him sing, and I wish I could have seen him more. But that's really it. That's just because I'm a fan. Like I don't know if I have anything profound to ask him.
Oh yeah, no, it doesn't. I don't think it needs to be profound. Ironically, we're all taking the musician route.
I know, right?
And this is what's funny is this was brought up in the Fluxapose Discord earlier, and this also came up in the DLC cast with Donnie. I would choose Johnny Cash.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And I'd want to hear number one. I'd love to hear him just sing a song. Doesn't even matter what it is.
That's a good one.
Just one song, acoustic guitar, just him.
He's got better. He's got better songs than that one.
I know, but it makes me want to cry because he's so old.
But I'd also want to hear just him tell stories.
That'd be good. Yeah.
Like that's all I'd want. He did sing one song, sure, just to have that experience. But I wouldn't be like, I want my own private concert. Like I just want to hear the stories.
Dude, I'd want to go drinking with Johnny Cash.
Well, I mean, there'd be drinking involved, hands down. Like, here's some whiskey.
Please let me buy you a drink.
Yeah. So that would be my answer. Last one we petitioned out for was Seth. He's the only one who gave us actually a gaming-related one. What are some games that you've played years after they came out that you loved when you got around to playing them? Shadow of War is entering that territory for him. AC Syndicate was also another one he had previously. So games that you played way too late that you ended up loving. I'll go first in this one, and Horizon Zero Dawn so far for me is an easy one. Like I knew I thought I would like this game, but I don't think I realized how much I would like this game.
It's a great game.
That's why it slept on. Like because I was so much like Breath of the Wild. You know, they came out like same time. So many comparisons. I mean,
I hate that they're destined to always be compared.
The bow and arrows, the color schemes are the same. Like even that's there, but yeah,
but they're
not the same type of game.
I love Horizon Zero Dawn. So I'm not going to come off this way,
Yeah.
but my one detraction from Horizon Zero Dawn is that I never really got into the open world part of it. Like it has a beautiful world. It's definitely like very great to look at, and it has these awesome monsters and combat scenarios. But besides that, there's not a whole lot out there. You know, like there's like a couple tombs you can go down and get like some chips for upgrades and things like that. But there's not like sprawling villages and all these other things that like really matter. You know, like that's the thing that I've always, and this is not really what I'm trying to say is not meant to be a deterrent to Horizon Zero Dawn. It's just a difference. I'm just trying to point out a difference. We always compare these two games together because they came out together. Both are great at the same time. So they're going to be destined to be compared together. But Horizon Zero Dawn is like a linear open world game where Breath of the Wild is anything but linear. And like that fundamental difference alone, it's like these are very, very different games. We should stop comparing them against each other.
No, it's just 'cause at the same time they came out, the similar thematics slightly there. But like, for instance, like I love the fact that Horizon Zero Dawn doesn't have puzzles. I don't need to do these shrines that are essentially just giant puzzles. I that's one of the least favorite things I had in Breath of the Wild, which
it knows what it does.
Such a huge component.
It does action, combat, and crafting, right? And that's all you do.
I'm not worried. I love not having to worry about stamina climbing up something. I don't need to worry about like, am I going to fall off this mountain trying to get halfway up?
Yep.
Or change clothes to be warm. Like those are the things like I'm glad I don't have to worry about. But they're two very different games. They're just because they came out at the same time. They have a bow and arrow, same color schemes. You know, open world. You know, so on and so forth, that they're always destined to be tied together. But for me, that's my pick. Donnie, one of yours.
Does it have to be like a good or a bad game?
No, it's just you loved it when it came out years later.
I mean, I played Shadow War last year and I loved it. You know, I probably put in 10 or 15 hours, so I'm like kind of there with him. Deadly Premonition probably counts. I would say I loved that game. Like I loved that game. I just played it. And that game way. See, I think a lot of those games would be like ones that like reviewed bad and scared me away. Like I mentioned on Shaq last night, I'm playing Resident Evil 6, and everything I've ever been told about is bad, and I'm quite enjoying it. Like I'm actually having some fun with Resident Evil 6. I think it's pretty good. Dying Light was that way. I didn't get into Dying Light until the collection came out, like the collector's edition. It had all the DLC. That's when I got in because I had a friend that was like, "These games are amazing. You got to play this game." And so I think I got in Dying Light like a year later, and it's probably one of my favorite games of the generation. Mafia 3, Titanfall 2. I had Titanfall 2 until it came out on EA Access. I never played the game.
True.
Because I played Titanfall and I was like, hate this game. But Titanfall 2 is so much better than Titanfall 1. But Mafia 3 I liked a lot too. And everybody trashed that game when it came out. And I liked that game. It was fun.
Yeah, okay. Lucas?
That leaves me. Psychonauts would be the obvious choice since
right.
talked about it. But, speaking of games that I feel like nobody liked, I was so into Mad Max, and I got on that train when that game was like $8 or something. Sure. Or I should say into that car. But I loved the mix of Batman-esque combat with the car combat and the upgrading mechanics, like making your car better. Like it just all, for some reason, me specifically, I won't say it's a great game. The story was terrible. What a letdown. But actually playing the game, I haven't had that much fun playing a game and not worrying about the story in a long time. And then also Evil Within. I came into that late, and it's funny. I started playing it and I wasn't feeling it. And eventually I was like, all right, I'm going to play this. It should be good based on its pedigree. Right. So I'm playing it and it starts clicking with me. And, before I know it, I've beaten the game. So, and had a good time doing it too. And it's weird because people talk about it, but I don't feel like I know anybody who is really into it. Yeah. And so I kind of feel like it's sort of a game that is mine, like sure. It's for me. I enjoy it, not like solely, but one of those things that not everyone's talking about. And I can say, have you tried this game? I want to. I came this close to buying it.
It's like all of us. We all played Evil Within. Like none of us played the second one.
No, I did not play the second one.
Yeah, none of us did. We all liked the first one. Like I liked the first one. I wouldn't go crazy to defend it. Like I just liked it. It was good.
But the second one looked like it was going to be better, and none of us
played it. And that's why they didn't make it anymore. That's why it goes Ghostwire Tokyo. Well,
that's why Bethesda only makes bad games now.
Well, it's a good reason why. That's a good thing. We have Ghostwire Tokyo to look forward to. It's like instead of maybe another one.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
All right. So Nathan sent in 3 questions, but we're only going to do one tonight. I'm going to save the other 2 for next week, Nathan. So you've got enough airtime here. So because it's going to be timely, although not really, because by the time this airs, it will have already happened. But our predictions for, in air quotes, the big game, because we can't say what it is. Otherwise, we'll get copyright infringement and the NFL will shut us down. We don't need that. His heart says 49ers over the Chiefs, 31-24. I'm never one to predict the score, but I am saying I am hoping the 49ers win as well because Jimmy G, former Patriot, I'm rooting for them.
I really don't care, but I think the Chiefs will win because I think they got the better quarterback.
Yep.
And I think as great as San Francisco's D-line is great, all-time great. Like, they're very, very good. But I think Mahomes will extend plays. He'll maneuver. He'll run around, and that'll be enough to win in the end. That offense is next level.
Yep, that's very fair. Lucas,
as a guy who didn't even know that the Patriots weren't in the Super Bowl for once, and as somebody who looks at these teams and goes, "Oh, the red jerseys versus the other red jerseys,"
good job.
I think I will peg the 49ers to win this one. I have a score, 28-17. For no other reason than because I pulled it out of my bum.
Okay. Now, who's going to win the halftime show, Shakira or J-Lo?
We're
J-Lo.
all going to win because they're going to come out together. And
Correct answer.
You're J-Lo. You're picking J-Lo, huh?
Yeah, she's going to do, whatever she has to steal the spotlight. I don't think she's going to give up any spotlight to Shakira too much.
And I mean, like, Shakira has like 2 songs I could name,
and
but J-Lo just has more.
Maybe you guys feel differently. Everybody that I know that knows Shakira just makes fun of Shakira.
Right.
Like,
I don't feel like the way she.
I feel like Shakira could come out of here with like a meme. She could go viral for the wrong reasons, and like
she will.
J-Lo could just win by default at that point. But
That's true.
They're supposed to do a Kobe tribute, so hopefully that'll go well.
Yeah. All right, so that wraps up this week's messages. Thank you everyone for sending them in. Reminder, we'll just continue calling out whoever we feel like each week, and then, of course, you could always send yours in, as Nathan did, and we will get to them as long as we can. So it's been a week, guys. We're running long, but we're going to do some quick hits here because it's our due diligence here at PSVG Prime. It's time to check out the news of the week. Because Lucas and I are very, very cheap, all the news segments are going to be about what you can get for free this month.
Freedom!
Amongst all the services, and I should say air quotes free because Donnie doesn't like it when we say free when it's subscription, but PS Plus for February, dropping some big ones, coming out with BioShock the Collection, which has the original BioShock, BioShock 2, and BioShock Infinite in their remaster forms with all of the DLC, not just some of it, all of it. And The Sims 4, which is, that's not for everybody, but that is an extremely big popular game. And then lastly, exclusive for PSVR, Firewall 0 Hour. So they're bringing out 3 games, one exclusively for VR, which we thought was going to happen a little bit earlier when they stopped with the Vita and stuff like that. I always kind of figured they'd do this every once in a while, and this is kind of the first time they're doing it. But those games are out there. I'm a huge BioShock fan, so I can't speak highly enough of that. So anybody who doesn't have these, snag that up for sure.
I need to finish the second one.
Yeah, you do.
Big Sister.
Yep.
Is it true that the DLC is better than the game? I've always heard that, but I never went through the second
I have never played the DLC.
Oh, wow.
So I have the remaster on PlayStation. I just haven't gotten around to it because after I got the Xbox, I pretty much only played Xbox.
I have
up
it
until
through
my
Xbox,
new
right?
streak. I don't know. Do you?
You should have it. I mean, I played Infinite on it. Can't buy it standalone, right?
I don't know. I definitely have it on PS4.
I think you have it on Xbox.
Okay, so I have it on both. But very big games there. Good month for them. Xbox though, not so much. So games with gold for February 2020.
Who cares about games with gold on Xbox anyway?
It's true.
It's true, but this is a non-point. Like we're all looking forward to their next rollout of Game Pass games, and they're going to
we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. So games with gold, TT Isle of Man, which is a racing game. You have Call of Cthulhu, Fable Heroes, and Star Wars Battlefront.
Dude, I hated
nothing
Fable
here
Heroes when it was
interests me at all, except for maybe Call of Cthulhu. So I might have you redeem that one, Donnie, but that would be the only one.
Okay.
Fable
Heroes is like Castle Crashers, but with Fable skins, but the art's bad. Well, it's not like bad. It's like cartoony, but it's not like Fable good.
Well, it's so that game has a 55 on Metacritic with an average user score of 4.1.
When that game came out, I was so angry.
Yeah. So as you stated, what most people care about now more is Game Pass, and Xbox has only said that they're having a big month lined up for February.
Big month.
Doing that as a tease, which the only thing we know is, of course, Ori and Will of the Wisp will be hitting on February 11th.
Sure.
So we know we're getting that one for sure.
No, this is March. They got delayed it. It's March.
Is it March now?
Yeah, they delayed it. They delayed it a long time ago.
Yeah. Oh, it's March 11th. Sorry. Yep.
I was gonna say it's coming up my birthday. Because here's the thing. Because I've got Ori, Animal Crossing, Mystery Dungeon, and something else, and they're all coming out in like 8 days.
That's right.
Oh no, Doom.
Doom came up. Doom.
So and like so I'm gonna have to figure out how to play Doom and Ori and Animal Crossing and Mystery Dungeon.
Well, at least Animal Crossing, it's like you'll never beat that game, so
True.
that you could just pick up and play little pieces. But yeah, everything else, that's going to be a bit tougher. We have no idea what's coming in February. Then, with that being said,
Boo.
Epic Games Store, they give out games weekly. So for anybody listening now, you can actually get 3 games, and they're all board games. So as of February 6th, you'll be able to get Carcassonne. Sure, thank you.
Yeah, it's a board game.
Ticket to Ride and Pandemic. All 3 are board games, actually, that you'll be able to get on there, which I think, Lucas, you and I will have to have a date with Josh and Kyle and do some...
These are actually free.
Games.
No subscription required. You just go log in and get free games.
They're legit free.
I've gotten 12 free games from the Epic Games Store since December.
Yeah. Every week they're doing it. They said that they're going to continue doing it at least through all of 2020 as well.
Crush it.
All 2019. Yeah.
February isn't board game month, but it certainly seems like they should have held this onto this for a board game month.
That is very true. That is weird. But yeah, so you'll be able to get 3 of those games there. I'm interested in seeing how Ticket to Ride translates. Pandemic, I've never played, but I've always wanted to.
The Switch versions, which I have no idea if it means anything to these, but the Switch versions of those games were not received well.
No, and I think any of these types of games, board games, I think would only translate, and even then it may not be great, but I think they would translate okay-ish to PC over
I see that they probably just want people to actually be playing these games because if you go online and try to play a game, there's like nobody there.
Yep. And then lastly, Twitch Prime. So if you have Amazon Prime, you get free games on Twitch Prime. Remember, Lucas? We talked about this?
Huh? How does
you have
that
Amazon
work?
Prime?
No
so you get free
Stadia
games.
coverage? What do you mean lastly?
Stadia doesn't give away games.
They do.
They haven't.
Stadia Pro for February. You get Kevin.
Nobody else.
You get Metro Exodus.
Nobody wants that.
And you get Guilt. You're right. Nobody wants it.
You have Metro Exodus on everything, including
like I'm trying to give it back. I'm like, can they please take my name off the list? Like, please take the game back.
So those are out there for people that have that. But more importantly, more people have Amazon Prime. So you can get Narcos, Rise of the Cartels, American Fugitive, Desert Child, Steridin, and White Knight will all be available for the month of February if you have Amazon Prime.
Aren't the Twitch folks doing like a Devolver Digital thing?
Oh my God.
That was before, I thought. This is all February.
Ooh.
Well, I say to this, who's heard of any of these? White Knight,
Narcos.
think I've heard of.
I've heard of Narcos. White Knight looks cool from the
Narcos.
screenshots.
Not heard great things about Narcos. Hang on a second.
Well, the TV show, not the game.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So it was for this past month, so you just missed it.
Yep.
Did you get Ape out?
I grabbed them all. Yeah, I grabbed them all.
Good.
I grabbed them all
Good,
every
good,
time.
good.
And then, of course, if you play games like Apex Legends, Destiny, League of Legends, PUBG, they always give away free stuff every month there as well, so you can redeem those if you have Amazon Prime. So just make sure you check out your Twitch Prime page, link it up with your Amazon Prime. They're always giving away stuff every month, different things. So that wraps up the free games for you this month. And I think that's going to wrap up the show for tonight.
Put a bow on it.
Put a ring on it.
Don't
Put a bow on
like,
what exactly?
Don't
show.
put a
What's
hunting bow, or else we're gonna get compared to
Bow and arrow?
game. Yeah,
Arrow's done. That ended. CW canned it. Stephen Mill's
What
going to
about-
wrestle now or something.
cloak and dagger.
That ended a while ago. They canceled that before too.
Hmm.
I mean, that was on Freeform, wasn't it? Nobody even knows what their channel is. So, Donnie, since you were the guest, where can people find you elsewhere besides guesting on this show and hijacking it and talking VR and stuff?
You can find me weekly on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/PSVG, hosting the Nintendo Shack on Thursday nights now with my co-host Jason Lacey. Apparently, I don't see how long this lasts. as we start welcoming new
fired.
guests and things like that as they come through. I'm really, really excited. He is all about it. It's like newfound enthusiasm, and we just did our first shack with Jason back last night, and it was a lot of fun. And I'm really, really happy he stepped back in. So,
And I trolled the entire episode.
that's true.
I had a puking 4-year-old next to me, and I had nothing to do but turn off all the lights and watch it on my phone, and I trolled the entire show.
As is your right.
It's true. It's true. So, Lucas, where can people find you if they just can't get enough through this show? Where
I
else can they
mean,
catch you?
I also podcast with Jason Lacey on a Flux to Post podcast where I don't even know what we do. Freeform jazz, that's what we do, but in the form of a podcast. Other than that, I'm hanging around PSVG Discord, causing trouble.
You should have
Making-
a jazz flute.
A jazz flute?
Yeah.
What's the difference between a jazz flute and a regular flute?
Jazz.
One plays only jazz.
Jazz.
It's incapable of playing any other type of music.
Duh.
It's true.
Lucas, duh.
Obviously.
Everything
I
comes
mean-
out jazzy.
I don't profess to be a flute master, as you do.
You're not a flautist?
A flautist, no sir. I make every Discord channel random, basically. That's my role in life. That and being Ant-Man of PSVG. So there you go.
Forgot about that. That's a
Yeah.
good point. That's a good point. So yes, I encourage you to check out everything we do here in the PSVG Podcast Network. Head over to psvg.blog to get links to all the things, our Discords, all of the shows, even Stadia if you want to listen to that. To find out more
For
about
however long it lasts, and I actually mean that one. Who knows
That's
how
true.
long that's going to last.
That's true. Patreon.com/PSVG if you want to support us monetarily for what we do. We are gearing up all steam ahead for the PSVG house party for E3. That's in full motion. Something else kind of popped up in the Discord today that Patreon supporters are going to get more content from us. Kind of out of the blue. Apparently, we're going to do something with the Fast and Furious series, which ought to be kind of fun or ridiculous, just more of what we do here. But I encourage you all to check it out, and thank you for listening to the Waffle House of podcasts, PSVG Prime. But most importantly, as always, we ask that you never
Stop.
gaming. Now we need some jazz flute right here. Cha-cha-cha.
Good night, Koopalings.